This is the LZR Project, an episodic story series by David and Alderman. The LZR Project takes place within David's Expired Reality universe and serves as a prequel to the main novels in his Expired Reality series. You can find out more about David's Expired Reality series at davidandalderman.com. Episode number 15. As the sun set across Lysalis, Veronica stepped aboard the waste train with a backpack full of supplies and a thirst for vengeance. She took her seat near the window among a dozen other passengers, hoping to blend in. She had traded her orchid-colored dress for a dark gray t-shirt and blue jeans, traded her high heels for black tennis shoes, and wore a thick black overcoat which would protect her from the cold of the wastelands. Her left shoulder had bruised from being hit with a wrench, but the dull ache was easily overpowered by her passion for revenge. According to her watch, she would be in Destiny within the hour to face whatever waited for her there. She had no doubts about this whole chain of events being a trap to lure her into Excess's clutches. She figured he had been waiting for Veronica to forget about Simper, to put her past behind her, to move forward into what she thought was a bright future. With her guard down, Excess thought he could wrangle Veronica back in by exposing Silva, a girl whose spirit and soul were racked by the evil things inflicted upon her in her sordid past. "Ma'am, would you like me to put your bag up here so you can have some more room on your lap?" the train attendant asked. He looked like a nice older gentleman, his bushy beard concealing whatever secrets his face might have revealed had he been clean-shaven. "No," she answered, clutching the backpack in her arms. "I'll hold it on my lap. Thank you, though." The man nodded. "Very well." Her bag contained her most prized possession, her scion blades. The curved metal blades were a capable conduit to absorb the rhodonine from Anaisha's atmosphere and harness it as a weapon. It was a dangerous thing to handle rhodonine, though. The human body had the ability to absorb the element into one's skin, muscles, and even bone. Once absorbed, it could be blasted out in a powerful beam, much like a laser. Veronica had successfully done such a thing only a handful of times, all while under Simper's care. She had also learned to transfer the rhodonine into her violet-tinted scion blades, giving them the ability to cut flesh and to poison an individual with highly concentrated levels of the element. That was the way in which she had killed Simper Creed. She grasped her bag, happy to have her blades again. David's non-violent means to apprehend Anaisha's most dangerous criminals was honorable, but Veronica was not above shedding a bit of blood when it was necessary. Being that Destiny was beyond the wasteland territory, Anaisha laws did not apply. In fact, no laws applied. Destiny was no man's land, and because of that, Veronica was on her own. After little consideration, she opted out of telling David or Carrie or even her brother Sean what she was doing. She knew one or all of them would have insisted on coming along to protect her. She didn't need protection, though. Excess did. Veronica had only told one person what she was doing, Ridley. Ridley agreed to keep Veronica's plans a secret as long as Veronica checked in with her every so often to let her know she was okay. And to ensure Silva's safety, Veronica had the girl stay with Ridley until Veronica completed her mission. The train started up and began its journey through the wastelands. Veronica peered out the window every so often, but there was really nothing to see. There were no lights in the wastelands save for dim light bulbs glowing off solo shacks, or random campfires of outposts adventurers made while journeying through the sand-drenched desert. During the day, black paneling came down over the train windows, blocking one's view from the wastelands. Violence was a common occurrence out here, but more so were attacks from the random beasts which inhabited the area. A family sued the train company years earlier when their child witnessed the horrific dismemberment of an adventurer who came too close to a riptosaur. At night, though, at a time when the sun escapes the evils of the day and retreats to make way for the more courageous moon, there was no need to block the windows. In fact, the random campfire glows and electric light beacons provided small tokens of hope, proof that life existed out here in the middle of nowhere. Veronica recalled high school history lessons about the wastelands. Adventurers went in, so few came out or made it to the other side. Either the wilderness killed the unprepared ego trip, untamed beasts of all shapes and sizes tore the ignorant limb from limb, or some adventurers managed to get lost in some of the wasteland ruins, which were said to have existed many thousands of years before Anaisha had even been colonized. Veronica remembered one story about a young man, brash and full of spitfire, who led a small team into an underground ruin near the Surland Mountain Range. Montgomery, that was his last name, I think. Montel Montgomery was his full name. The ruins were rumored to be inhabited by dark creatures and a rare artifact, but Montgomery's team never returned, only he did. When another expedition crew went into the ruins after him, they came back with reports of a large chamber full of doors. Black doors made of shimmering stone with silver knobs and strange symbols etched around the door frames. The doors floated above the stone flooring of the chamber by some mysterious force. An indiscernible whispering filled the chamber. No other chamber within the vast ruins contained black doors, and when the doors within the one chamber were counted, the number came out to 4 dozen. The expedition team claimed they couldn't open any of the doors. After hearing that story, Veronica spent many weeks researching black doors. The black door phenomena was something that had been experienced by a few dozen people across an era, each in a different location. People would turn a corner or enter a room or even wander outside, and suddenly there would be a black door. Some even said they would go to their neighbor's house and their neighbor's door would be replaced with a black door, with strange symbols etched around the frame. Each black door had a different set of symbols, making interpretation nearly impossible. Some people reported being able to open the doors by turning the silver knobs. Once opened, they said they saw a variety of different things: apartment buildings, futuristic spacecrafts, alien species, and sometimes horrors beyond explanation. There were even rumors of black doors opening to someone's will. No research uncovered a report of anyone ever stepping through the doorways. Veronica figured it was because anyone who ever did step through the doorways, and she was sure there were people who did out of a curious compulsion, were never able to come back to tell anyone about it. The going theory right now was that the doors opened to other realms. Veronica leaned back in her seat and wondered what it would be like to come across a black door. She wasn't sure if she'd walk through one. Exploring other realms seemed exciting to her, but common sense and self-preservation kept Veronica from really committing to the idea of jumping through one of those black doors. The train slowed its breakneck speed, and Veronica did her best to calm her vigorously beating heart. She enjoyed getting lost in her thoughts. She always managed to enjoy the journey more than the destination, but this time she would enjoy the destination far more. She had to put an end to excesses reign and shut down any remnant of Simper Creed's influence here and now. The train finally halted to a complete stop. Veronica stood out of her seat, slipped her backpack over her right shoulder, and made her way to the front of the train. When she stepped off the train and touched her feet to the cement station platform, a bitter cold wind snapped at her skin. Snow flurries swirled around the empty station, giving her reason to tighten the front of her overcoat. The train wasted no time in leaving with the other passengers, and she found herself alone at the station, a sole visitor to Corpatha. Veronica glanced up at the departure and arrivals board, dismayed that the little plastic letters hung at such sad and sorry angles. The next departure back to Lysalis wasn't for 4 hours, so she had plenty of time to take care of business. She made her way across the platform to the front of the train station. A gas station stood to her left, while a single taxicab with its engine running waited to her right. In the distance, the blue moon covered the land in an eerie sapphire shade, making it possible to make out some of the tall, dark buildings in the deserted city of Destiny. She entered the back seat of the cab. "Destiny, please." The driver, a gentleman in a ball cap, chuckled, put the car in drive, and took her 15 minutes down a dark highway. The cab stopped on the outskirts of Destiny, where small, rundown buildings led inward toward taller structures and eventually skyscrapers. "Destiny," the man said, holding his hand above his shoulder for payment. Veronica dropped a wad of paper credits into his hand. "Wait for me?" "Not on your life. This place is haunted. I can come back if you want." 2 hours? He counted out the credits. 2 hours it is. Veronica exited the vehicle with her backpack and watched the driver vanish along the dark highway. She turned toward Destiny. Blue moonlight poured across the main road, lighting the way for Veronica to follow. The roads and sidewalks were partially buried in sand and dirt, which skated through the city courtesy of the wind. The buildings, gray and black, scattered before her like unruly children, full of broken windows, crumbling foundations, and logos and signage worn by the elements. The signage is what confused Veronica the most. Places like Subway, Radio Shack, and KB Toys once filled these buildings, but Veronica had never heard of any of them. The rumors she heard about Destiny were so varied that she found it hard to take stock in any of them. The Anera government claimed that Destiny had once been a thriving city that fell under a poisonous cloud that wiped out all of its inhabitants. This fact that the government published had many holes. Where did the bodies of these victims go? Where did the poisonous cloud come from? And what was a city doing way out here beyond the wastelands? Wind howled through the buildings, moving through the derelict carcasses like a salamander. She pulled the collars of her coat closer to her neck, shielding herself from the cold, and set her backpack on the ground. She unzipped the bag and pulled out her scion blades. The black color of the curved blades shone blue under the moonlight, but the purple edge that each blade carried glowed brightly. She attached her blades to small clips at her hips, happy with the weight they brought. Veronica spotted a metal signpost sticking up out of a mound of sand nearby. Full of curiosity, she went to it and brushed away the sand until she could see the entirety of the placard. City of Mercy Springs, evacuation route. Mercy Springs, she wondered. She had never heard of the city before. Why is this place called Destiny? Putting her curiosity about the environment to the side, Veronica reminded herself why she was here. "I'm coming for you, XS," she whispered as she started toward the center of the city. Thank you for listening to the LZR Project. If you are interested in reading more of David's Expired Reality series, please check out the author's webpage at davidnalderman.com.